Lily Madwhip must die. Chapter 9 Tears in Heaven. I'm running through the south parking lot outside the foster center. Ahead of me is Samael, looking just like me, only covered in blood. Even though I'm not the one covered in blood, I feel very self conscious because anybody who sees him as me will think he's me, and it feels pretty much the same as if they saw me covered in blood, except I have less control over it. Get back here, I yell, waving Pashar at him. A group of older kids is hanging out at the edge of the parking lot. I think they must be smoking because I can see a little flickering light being passed around between them. And they're all huddled together like cave people trying to stay warm around the first fire. One of the kids looks up and sees me and Samael running by. What the hell? He says. Hey, check that out. The rest of the kids look up and turn in our direction. The others seem more curious than concerned, like we're a pair of one-legged pygmy hippos wandering past, and not two identical girls, one of whom is covered in blood. Samael glances over his shoulder at me. He looks at the older kids. I see a grin cross my face, by which I mean his face. Help me, he screams in my voice. It's weird to hear my screams coming from someone else. Do I always sound that nasally? Help me. She's trying to kill me. I stumble for a moment, but catch myself. No! I yell over her. I mean him. Help me. She's already hurt somebody, and I'm trying to stop her from getting away. What do we do? Says a girl wearing a brown hoodie and a red knit cap on her head. She looks like she's half asleep. Maybe that funny cigarette they're all sharing is making her sleepy from lack of oxygen. I'm not getting involved, says someone else. You can smell this shit on me. A murmur rolls over the group, and they all turn their backs to us. Are you kidding me? I yell at them. Someone raises their arm over their head and gives me the middle finger. Unbelievable. Samael reaches the fence that surrounds the parking lot. He grabs the metal wires and pulls like he thinks it's just going to rip apart. He doesn't seem to realize that he's in the body of a 12-year-old girl and not some super-powered angel person who lives in a world they can manipulate at their will. I've got him. And then he pulls the fence apart like it's made of saltwater taffy and dashes through. Hey, I shout after him. Why can't I do that? In response, he disappears around the corner of a building. Almost a second after he does, a confused-looking lady comes out from around the same corner, clutching her hand to her chest and walking backward. Her eyes are bugging out like she just saw a little girl covered in blood come running out from around the corner of a building in the middle of the night. Which she did. Then she sees me and she does one of those cartoon double takes where she isn't sure which way to look, she just keeps looking back and forth. Excuse me, I say, shoving past her as I round the corner just seconds after Samael. Samael is already halfway down the block. There's other people on the street and cars driving by, but none of them seem to pay him any mind. I start to slow down. I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm not a sprinter. What are you doing? Pashkar shouts in my head. He's getting away. Yeah, but pant, gasp, counterpoint. I'm going to have a heart attack and die if you make me keep sprinting. We need a different way to catch him. Like, can we steal a car or something and just run him over? As if to answer my question, an old man appears down the street on a bicycle. He's got a shopping bag hanging over the bars that looks full of empty soda cans. I've seen him around town many times before. His name is Hank. He lives in a small apartment with his dog, Chopper, and collects cans to make money. I've always avoided turning my soda cans in at the gas station for nickels because I figure Hank could use them more, so I put them in trash cans, knowing he'll rummage through and find them. But for now, Hank is giving me his bicycle, even though he doesn't know it yet. Sorry, Hank, but this is a kind of important matter. Look out, I shout, throwing myself in front of Hank and his bike. It occurs to me too late that maybe Hank doesn't like kids. Please don't run me over, Hank. Hank does not run me over. He hollers something adult in nature, then swerves to the side, hitting the curb and tumbling off his bike. I'm so sorry, Hank. I worry for a moment that maybe I killed him, but he stirs and sits up, rubbing his head. I don't give him time to think, though. I scramble to my feet, grab the bike, make like I'm wheeling it over to him, but instead throw my leg over and start pedaling as hard as I can. Hey! Hank shouts behind me. Sorry, Hank! I call back to him. I'll give it back after I run myself over. I promise. I'm sure that made perfect sense to him. This is getting out of control, Pashkar says sternly. I'm calling in Abaddon. He's been arming himself in the armory. Abaddon arming himself? How many arms does that guy need? He's already got 4. I can't believe they've got a special place just for him to attach more arms to himself. The street before me is empty, just dark shop fronts. Samael couldn't have cranked my legs up to 11 and shot out of town like he was fired out of a cannon, could he? I mean, I just saw him rip a fence in half with my bare hands, so I don't find it completely outside the realm of possibility. Still, I'm kind of hoping he suffers from my little leg syndrome. Several empty blocks go by, and I really start to panic. Peshar says nothing, but I can sense that he's getting a little tense as well. Finally, up ahead, a small form passes under a streetlight. That must be him. I pedal harder, little leg syndrome not affecting me when I'm on a bicycle. The only problem is that Hank's bicycle is too big for me, so to pedal harder, I have to stand up and ride the pedals up and down. Faster I go, seeing the running form of bloody version me coming into focus. She hears the rattling of Hank's current can collection and looks back. I get a sense of excitement. Am I going to get to see Samael looking shocked? But no, she looks back and looks only amused at the sight of me barreling down on her on an adult-sized bicycle. Little legs pedaling and body lurching up and down on the pedals. I don't let this stop me. I got you now, bitch! I yell at her as I jam my foot down one last time, and then we collide. I go over the handlebars of Hank's bicycle. I can see Samael under me as I bumble over his head. Somehow, he's not being squished under the front tire. He's not being knocked to the ground by the sheer brute force of an adult-sized bicycle going 800 miles an hour. No, he's got his arms out straight and he's holding the freaking bicycle tire like it's just a toy. He flipping stopped the bicycle dead in its tracks with one hand, and I'm flying through the air. I already know what's going to happen now. I'm going to land on my head and wake up dead, or I'm going to skid across the pavement at 100 miles an hour and be nothing but a bloody streak. Or a man steps out of nowhere and catches me. He catches me like I'm a sack of potatoes tossed off the side of a grocery truck. But, hey, it beats being a skid mark on the road, or a vegetable lying in a hospital bed. And without a word, he turns me over and sets me down on my feet. I'm a little wobbly, though, and my legs give out. I fall down on my butt. Sorry, mister. I appreciate the effort to set me on my feet, but I've got to sit down for a moment. Samael sets the bicycle down and lets it fall over. He turns to face me and the man who caught me in mid-death flight. Nate, he says casually, you can't possibly be here by chance. The man who caught me stands up straight. He's wearing a long, red coat like detectives wear in old movies or flashers wear when they're on the prowl. He holds his hands up in front of him and points a finger at Samael. Samael tenses in response, like he thinks he's about to get shot with a finger gun, then relaxes. Don't do this, says this guy Nate. You're unwell. This is all part of the plan, Samael says, taking a step backward. He holds his hand up, palm facing us. I can see where he's doodled a thorny symbol, in the blood covering it. All things happen as the word wills it. I am here because the word wills it. Nate hesitates. Don't listen to him, Nathaniel, says Paskar. Nate extends his other hand to Samael. Come back with me, Sam. Don't make me drag you back in a charred husk. He gestures with his head toward the storefront he apparently stepped out from. The door is open. Inside, the shop looks an awful lot like a very familiar hallway full of doors. Through the storefront window, I can see the actual store, full of antique lamps and other home furnishings. Look, I can take us both home right now. Please, Samael doesn't move. I made a mess, Nate. I know, but let us help you make things right. Somewhere inside my head, a Rolodex starts spinning frantically. Not a literal one, of course. I'm not an office building, and my head isn't some worker's desk with a phone and a Rolodex. This is more like a flip book of images. I can see them in front of my eyes. They're not really there, but something is happening in my meatball, and I can't really explain it. So this is the best I can do. When the Rolodex stops turning, I see a drawing on the card, just a vertical line with a thorny triangle poking out. It's the rune on Samuel's palm. Wait, I say from my spot on the ground. Nathaniel, Pashar says louder, put him down now while you have the chance. Samuel lowers his arm. Maybe you're right. Maybe I've been doing this alone for so long that I just can't picture it any other way. Yes, Nate says. Nate, Pashar says in an I'm warning you tone of voice. Samael takes a step forward. Do you believe in me, brother? Always. Hey! I call to him from the ground. Hey! This is villain behavior 101, mister. Bloody version me walks up to Nate, reaches out, and takes his hand. My head is flooding with information. It's not the angel radio. It's something else. He's got a rune on his palm, I yell. Thurisaz. That's its name. That's how he ripped the fence apart with his bare hands. That's how he caught Hank's bicycle like one of those sports dogs catching a frisbee with its mouth. I see Samael's hand squeeze his brother's. Get away from him! I scream. For a moment, I think he's about to crush the hand in his little fist like Superman does to that jerk at the diner in the Superman movie with the Kryptonians who fly around in the weird, spinning space mirror. But then, I remember that the rune is on the other hand. Instead, he pulls Nate down toward him slightly. I'm sorry. I hear him whisper, I love you. Then he thrusts upward with his free hand, the one with the Thurisaz rune on it, and there's a squelchy sound as he drives it right up into Nate's abdomen and out the other side. It's dark out, but I can see Samael's hand protruding out the back of Nate's coat, slick with black blood. Nate looks surprised, but he doesn't cry out. If somebody jabbed their hand through me like that, I'd probably scream bloody murder. All Nate does is go, oh no. Nathaniel! Pashkar screams through my brain. Suddenly, Samael's hand that's holding Nate's hand erupts in flame. It travels down his arm in under a second, and then all of him just goes up in a roaring fire like a gas jet in science class when the teacher uses one of those cool flapper things to light it. Like, whoosh. The flames then race up Samael's other arm, traveling through Nate's body in the process, catching him on fire too as it shoots out the other side like a jet exhaust. The heat is so intense I roll away from the inferno instinctively. The street is lit up by the double human bonfire. The smaller burning figure wails like a witch in a bad horror movie. She pulls her arm halfway back through the body of the other burning figure, then jerks it upward, cleaving him in half from stomach to head. The flames that were consuming them both instantly go out with a hiss like a geriatric snake. They fall away from each other, smoke wafting off them both. The taller one twitches several times before going still. Holy crap, I whisper. Lily, Pashar says with desperation tinging his voice. Get Samuel through the door! Quickly! What about Nate? I ask, glancing at the gooey body of the guy who had just saved me from turning into a similarly gooey mess when I flew off Hank's bicycle. Is he dead? Get him through the door, now! I scramble to my feet and run over to the other me. She's all blistered and flaky. Her skin looks like one of those sheets of bubble wrap my mom used to like to pop whenever a box came with something she ordered. One of her eyes is open and looking at me, except it's all milky. The other is swollen shut. Oh God, please don't let her punch a hole through me. Do you want to see a magic trick? She says in a raspy, burnt version of my voice. Not really. I grab her leg and start dragging her charmallow ass toward the door to the veil. She doesn't resist. She just lets her arms go limp and dangle at her sides. Her shirt rides up, peeling off in places and showing more blistered and bubble wrap, fish belly pale flesh underneath. For a moment, I'm relieved that she's not trying to get away, but then I notice one of her fingers trailing through a puddle of blood that spread out from the other body. That's Nate's blood. She's got angel blood on her finger. Oh, pff. I drop her leg quickly and dive for her hand with the bloody finger, but her other arm snaps up like a cobra, faking being dead. I think that's a thing cobras do. I'm not sure. It grabs me by the wrist and twists, causing pain to go shrieking up my arm. I flop over to avoid her snapping my arm clean off and end up laying on my back beside her. Quickly, she draws another rune on herself, directly on the skin of her belly. It looks like a cursive lowercase n, but I know, somehow, that its name is Uruz. She follows it up with a backward Zi, Ihwaz, stop. Lastly, she draws a diamond, Inguz. The three runes immediately turn a horrid, bright red, burning themselves through the cracked, blackened flesh. The glow spreads, making Samael's charm aloe body look like a human-shaped piece of coal from the bottom of the grill when my Uncle George hosted a 4th of July cookout. Let go, I yell, prying at her fingers as the glow spreads up her torso and down both arms toward where she's gripping my wrist like an insane robot. Samael! Pashar shouts. Let her go, now. Samael doesn't let go. The glow reaches his hand, and suddenly I feel heat rushing up my arm. Oh God, I'm on fire. He's going to burn me alive, like Nate did to him. Everything is red. The world is glowing. Or is it my eyes? Are my eyes glowing? I turn my head to blink at Pashar. Are my eyes glowing? I ask him. He doesn't respond. The world goes completely white. This must be what being incinerated is like. I wonder if this is how it felt for Meredith. Poor Meredith. I'm never going to find her now. Maybe Samael will. He said he was going to, didn't he? He never said he'd make sure I survived it, I guess. I can still feel the firm grip on my wrist. It moves as the person whose grip it is rises. They're standing up. They pull me up beside them. The whiteness fades to black. Open your eyes, stupid girl. Oh, my eyes are closed. I open them. I'm standing beside myself. A whole, unburnt-looking version of me. Except for her clothes. Those are ruined. They're scorched and peeling in places. But Samael, looks like he's in better shape than he did even before all this started. I did not want to kill him, he tells me calmly, letting go of my wrist finally. He looks down at the doll lying on the street. This is your fault. I rub my wrist, but it doesn't actually hurt. In fact, parts of me don't hurt that I had gotten so used to being in pain that I'd forgotten what it was like for them to feel normal. My knees, my poor, sad, scraped and double scraped knees, they don't sting. Nothing aches. I look down at my hands, and my palms look clean and unscarred. They'd had nasty scars all over them ever since I got shoved by a crazy lady as part of an attempt to steal my totem for that stupid demon Fairfair. Get away from her, Pashkar barks. I'm not sure which one of us he's talking to, but both of us step away from the other. I end up tripping backward over something large and find myself falling over the split, bloody body of Nate with a gross sound and scraping my stupid elbows on the pavement right after getting miraculously healed by Samael's rune word. Dang it! I yell at the world. There's a sound of floppy shoes clopping on cement, and when I get to my bearings, Samael has taken off. The street is empty except for the sound of cars on Main Street, just a block over. All this excitement and not a single other soul, not even poor Hank, got to see what happened. There was a whole inferno going on for about 5 to 8 seconds, and I'm the only one who saw it. Why does that always seem to be the case these days? Get up, Peshar says, in a voice that screams. I'm trying to remain calm, but I'm about to lose my shit here. You need to go after him. I think we just got our asses handed to us. And more people will get their asses handed to them if you don't get up and go after him. I try to get up, but slip in Nate's blood puddle. For a moment, I look over and can see all his insides. It's really nasty, and I instantly want to puke and then run home and scrub my brain with steel wool. Just as I'm about to try again to get to my feet, two big, heavy hands slip under my armpits and heft me up. I spin around immediately, finding myself face to face with a square jawed man wearing a large overcoat, similar to the one Nate was in. He's much shorter than Nate, though, and the arms he lifted me up with were only one set, with another two arms above those that closed the coat around the lower ones. Lily, says Abaddon. He looks down at the remains of Nate. I can see his jaw clench for a second, and a sound comes from underneath the overcoat of about 8 knuckles cracking. He looks at me with eyes that scream both rage and sadness. Samael did this? I nod silently. Get him across the threshold, orders Pashgar. Then shut the door before someone corporeal uses it. Abaddon kneels down, and with strange tenderness, scoops up the two sloppy halves of Nate's upper body, pressing them together and holding them like a mother carrying an infant. He pays no attention to the bits hanging out of his friend's corpse, trailing along behind him like greasy ropes. His body shudders once. I think he might be crying, but his back is to me, so I can't tell. Is he like gone? I ask Pashgar. He can't be, can he? Pasha doesn't respond. Abaddon passes through the store door and into the hallway beyond it. One of his second pairs of hands reaches behind him for the knob. Wait, I yell after him. I look at the blood covering my hands. I think I have an idea.